Right, we're on page 3 of the study guide. Looking at number 17, keep in mind that there are 3 triangles in this picture, the one on the left, the one on the right, and the whole thing. So we know that the angles inside a triangle have to add up to 180. So for the first variable, A, we could write the equation that A plus 36 plus 52 degrees, the sum of that has to be 180. So we could go ahead and add 36 plus 52. We get 88 when we do that. And then subtract 88 from both sides. So the measure of angle A has to be 92 degrees. All right. Now, when I made this study guide, I really made a mistake here. Typically, we won't give you an angle that looks acute and then ends up being obtuse like that. So that's my mistake. I'm sorry. Next, to find angle B, well, we could remember that if this is the exterior angle of this triangle, that angle B is going to be the sum of these 2 remote angles. So that's one way to find angle B. The other way is to just know that angles A and, oops, sorry, I'm moving that on us. Angles A and B are a linear pair. So we know that A plus B has to equal 180. And when we go ahead and subtract 92 from 180, what we're left with is the 88 we had down here. So it's 88 degrees. And then lastly, angle C, we could use the big triangle or the smaller one. But to find C, we know that 88 plus 31 plus whatever C is, that has to add up to 180. So if I add that up, 88 plus 31, let's see, well, the 1 makes that a 9. 8 plus 3 is 11. So we get 119 plus C, and then we've got to subtract 180 minus 119. And you are more than welcome to use a calculator here. We get, what, 61? So C is 61 degrees. All right, in number 18, to find G, well, we've got to know this angle first. So we've got to recognize that we have vertical angles here, and that's 31 degrees. So G plus 66 plus 31, that's got to add up to 180. Add those 2 together. Let's see, that's G plus 97, which has to give us 180. So then we could do 180 minus 97. Again, I could borrow, and we should get 83. So that has to be 83 degrees. All right. Moving down the page in number 19, where it says classify by sides and angles. So when we classify by sides, our classification by sides, well, a triangle is either scalene, and that's where it has no congruent sides, or it's isosceles, and that's 2 congruent sides, or it's equilateral, and that's going to be 3 congruent sides. By angles, it could be acute, right, or obtuse. And then in the event that it's equilateral, it could also be equiangular. All right, so classifying this by sides, if I look at this first one, by sides, it is isosceles, and by angles, it is right. So it's an isosceles right triangle. This one is equilateral and acute, or we could also say equiangular. It is acute. This one is going to also be isosceles, and it is obtuse. Coming down here, we have a scalene triangle that is also right because it has that 90-degree angle right there. Looking at this one, this is an isosceles. And if none of those angles look obtuse, I can assume it's acute. And then lastly, a scalene. obtuse triangle. All right, that's it for this page.